Hello everyone. So from today we are taking this playlist for only solving the problems. So today we will talk about prefix array, and we will be taking the questions on intermediate level. And first we will discuss the question, we will try to understand, and we will try to think about or discuss about the approach, and later on we will go for editor and where we will try to solve the questions with given test cases. Okay, so before starting it, let's start this question. So this questions which I means this question I'm talking about, this is prefix array. So what it is and how we can apply it in the this question, everything we will discuss about this. So before that, let's start the reading question. Let's start reading question and understand. Okay, so what question says, given an array of a size n, count number of elements having at least one element greater than itself. Means we need to check each number whether is there any number greater than the current number. For an example, we have a 3 here, which is minus 3 actually. So let's look into the next part, which is minus 2. Minus 2, 6, 8, 4, 8, 5. Okay, these are the remaining number to check the minus 3. So just tell me, is minus 3 greater than minus 2? Yes. If anyone has a doubt about this, they can just think about this. X and Y coordination we follow. So whenever any number means which any number which closes like close to a zero means close to a zero, so that number will be a bigger than that number. So it means, suppose if you talk about this number, okay, there is minus 3, here is minus 2, and here is 0. So which number is close to 0? Minus 2. Means minus 1 will, when 1 will be greater than what? Minus 2. So this is very basic, so I'm sorry if I'm taking this long. So we have a minus 3 and minus 2, so we got one count for 3. Let's talk about second. Yeah, 6 is also greater than. Next, 8 is also greater than, 4 is also greater than, 8 is also greater than, 5 is also greater than. Means this 3 number has at least one or more than one greater element. So in that case we will say 1. This element is 1. Okay, so second, let's talk about second, minus 2. So now for a minus 2, obviously this minus 3 is not greater according xy coordination. There is 6. Yeah, 6 is greater than 8 also, 4 also, 8 also, 5 also. These all are greater than. So we will say that 2. 2 count we have where the numbers, the other numbers are greater than itself, means minus 2. So minus 3 and minus 3, these both number has a greater numbers. So let's talk about 6. Is there any number greater than 6? Obviously 8 is there, again 8 is there. So now 4 is not and 5 is not, so 8 is there. So let's increase the count by 1. So what it is now? It is 3. Now the next number is 8. Is there any number which is greater than 8 in this array, whole array? No, right? There is a number, but it is equal to this 8, but it is not actual greater than 8, right? So we will say count is still 3 only. Let's talk about this 4 now. Is there any number more than like greater than 4? Yes, 6 is and 5 is there. So we will say count is what? 4. So next number 8. So we have seen this. So 8 is largest number and there is equal only. So we don't have a number for that. So 4 was count. Let's talk about this 5. Is there any number greater than 5 itself? Yeah, there 8 is also there and 6 is also there. So we will say the count is what? 5. So 5 is nothing but the output. So what they ask, count the number of elements having at least one element greater than itself. So we got 5 elements, such 5 elements, those for those at least one number is greater than itself. So that's why we got the 5, and we will be a returning number, that is 5. Now let's talk about the next second question. Two length of the array or list, it is 8, and we have 2 3 10 7 3 2 10 8. For 2, 1 2 3 4 5 6, yeah, greater is there, at least greater is there, right? For 3, yes, there. For 10, no, right? So count is what? 2 only. For 10 there is no. 7, 8 is there, so let's count 3. For 3, count is incrementing. For 2, yes. For 10, no. So for 8, yeah, 10 is there. So what it is? Previous count was 5 plus 1 is equals to 6. So answer is what? 6 only. So talk about this question. So easily we will take about this. 2, we can say 5, yeah. 1, 5 or 4 is there. Next 4, for 4, sorry, for 4 8 is there. For 0, all the numbers are greater than 8. It is now largest number, so is there any number greater than it? No, right? So we will pass, we will do nothing with that condition. Yeah, 1 is there, greater than 3 is also there, 8 is there, 5 is there, then 3 is also, 3 is also means 3 has a at least one greater element, 8 is also there. So if you count, so it will come what? 7. So majorly we try to solve the question with good time complexity, space complexity. Basically, I'm just telling about, suppose if you have any interview with a good company or product based company, they always prefer their time and space complexity. So which one is better, time complexity or space complexity? What do you think? See, time complexity is always on high priority than space complexity, because we can buy a space. For an example, your algorithm is taking 10 GB, okay, but company has only 10 GB only. So other work, for other work they require a space, right? So they can buy space anytime, or they can expand the space or the storage anytime, right? Suppose they have run the algorithm, suppose they have run the algorithm, time has gone, and what we say, time never come again. So for that, in that situation, time complexity is always on high priority to build any data structure algorithm or any algorithm. Okay, so let's talk about this question. The basic approach is there. Simply, what you will do, you will find the max number. Let's talk about this question. You will find the maximum from this list. Then what you will do, you will try to compare each number with that, whether the number is less than 8 or not. Let's take a simple dry run. Okay, dry run means simple calculation. We have 8, which is max now. So don't ask me that how we can find the max. So max number we got it, okay, and while writing code we will look into that also, how we can find the max number without using any inbuilt function, right? Suppose if you use a max function, there is a max function, okay, so we always we pass a list inside it, and it will return a maximum number, okay. But this is inbuilt, right? You need to implement your own, right? So just considering now 8 is a max number, let's compare. Is 3 less than 8? Yes, it is. 2 is less than? Yes, it is. 6 is less than? Yes, it is. 8 is not even less or greater. What it is? Equal. So in that we will perform the null operation, otherwise we will just continue our loop, means we will go, our statement will go, means control will go to where control will go at the beginning of the loop using the continue keyword. Okay, suppose if you have used a pass we use when we don't have a like logic or null operation, then only we use a pass. So in this question continue is a suitable or which is fixed for this. 4 is there, let's talk about, yeah, 4 is less than that. Now 8 is also equal and the last number is what, 5, so that is also less than 1 2 3 4 5. So we got 5 here. The same approach we will be applying for this all questions. Got it? So let's talk about the simple approach I have written here. Number of element can be a greater than max element. Observation 1. First, what I told you, find the max element and compare with every element of array. So you can compare the every element with the max number. So this is the simple approach we have. Okay. So what time complexity? First thing, you will write one for loop for what? Getting a max number. Okay, so if you traveling from 0 to n minus 1, we always travel n minus 1 because length always include 1 when it is start from 1 to n. So we will, and the indexes start from what, 0 to n minus 1. This we know that, right? So we will travel till what, n minus 1. So in this case, means we will look for the all number which are 0 to n minus 1, but actual iterations will have take what, n plus 1. So in this case, all the time this will be a constant. Suppose if you write any loop, so 1 will be a constant all the time. So to finding the big O, there is one condition or one uh, statement is there. You can neglect the constant or the coefficient. So in this case the constant is 1, so remaining number is what, n. So this will take what, n. And next time what we will do, we will come again use a for loop which will take n time complexity, and we will just compare those number with what, this given max number, not with n, with given max number. So in this case also we are traveling n. So this loop is also, and this loop is also taking what, n, and this is also n. Now what you will use to find the number of iteration, multiplication or plus. So simply this loop work first and the second loop will work after the completion of the first loop, means both are completely independent. So whatever time complexity takes, this also takes that own time complexity. So for an example, this is taking n, this is taking n. So in that case individually, so we will say what, n plus 1. So you can say 2n, but as per the big O statement, so always we consider the highest term instead of what, fixed or constant coefficient. So n will be the time complexity. If it would have been a nested loop, this is n, this is n, but this is first for loop, this is second for loop, and this loop is going till n, and this is going till 0 to again n. Means what you are trying to you are doing a nested. So in nested, what we follow? N square, right? N into n is what? For example, 2 into 2 is what? 4 is nothing but what? 2 raised to 2. So 2 is what your n, and how much time you are trying? You are traveling square time. So n square will be the time complexity. So just forget about this n square right now. I just gave you a small information about it. So the basic approach is that finding the max number and comparing it with the other elements. So let's start doing a programming. Later on we will try to run the all the test cases. Start to solve that question with editor. So I'm using an editor, and we will be running with the test cases and normal test. Okay, so before starting this means before start writing a code, let's look into a program, actually question and the problem statement. The question name is what? Count of elements. Okay, so problem description is there, so we need to understand the statement actually, because always we can find the logic in question itself. Okay, so what they have was like written here: given an array a, so we can see the a param means parameter a, list of what it is? Integers, and n are the integers. So count n means n number of integers. Count the number of elements that have at least one element greater than itself. Okay. So now before starting this question, I told you the time complexity of this question, it should take what? Only n. So before writing it in n, means suppose if you have a logic and you are started writing it, but you don't know that how much time the algorithm will gonna take, right? So before that, let's analyze a time complexity, and let's look what time complexity they are looking for actually to solve this question. So basically what the developers they do for this kind of online exam or any programming question, they never go for this problem constraints. So there are constraints, means always we find any constraint for particular problem. Okay, so how we can understand it and how we can solve it? Suppose if you have ignored this and if you solved it with n square, where it should take a n time complexity, but you have solved with what? N square. So but they are expecting n, right? So there is no point to writing a code, right? Because all the test cases will not pass in your code, you will not get the out, right? Max score, whatever score they have given or defined for the problem. So how we can understand? So as I told you, 1 1 by 10 raised to, here is very difficult to write here, 10 raised to 8 takes 1 second for iterations. So 10 raised to 8 iteration takes 1 second. Means suppose if they have told you they have given a constraint, oh yeah, they have given a constraint what the number of elements gonna 10 raised to 5. So obviously means your code should work less than that, right? At least equal or less than. But now in this case, if you are writing code with n square, so what they it will take suppose if you found the 10 raised to 5 elements and you have written the n square, so what it will take? 10 raised to 5 of square means is nothing but what? It will take double time, means double time, right? So instead of that, what you will do, you will look for this always before jumping into any problem, then only you will write the code. And a of I is what? A of I means the number which I we are using or iterating, that will be a less than 10 raised to 9 power, means the number will be a less than 10 raised to 9 power. So according that also we need to find, because there are something memory issues can happen. The loop if you have used, that can go that can like take much time or overflow, that can also happen. So for that we need to look into a problem constant. So now it is saying that 10 raised to 5, so 10 raised to 8 taking 1 second means obviously this problem should pass at least 10 raised to 5, means within a 1 second, right? So let's understand question. So question I have already told you or given you at the first time only. So 10 raised to 5 means the code will going to take a less than 1 second to run it. So if it is taking more than less than more than 1 second, means this you will get obviously time limit exceed, what we say TLE. So let's talk about the input format. First and only argument is an array of integers a. So this is a class based and this is a method, and the a is what, nothing but integers array. Okay, so what output they are expecting, they are expecting the return the count of elements. So the those count of elements which are greater than itself, right? For an example input also we will discuss. 3 is there, 1 is there, 2 is there. For this output is what, 2, right? For for 1 there are two numbers which are greater than itself, so 2 count first. And next is 2. For 2 there is only one number itself, means 3 is greater than 2 itself, right? So 2 plus 1 is what, means 1 plus 2 is what, 1 plus 1 is 2, right? Means for 2 and for 1 there is a one number at least which is greater than. So the for this element and this element, for two elements there is output 2, means 3 is greater than, right? So we can say that this element has at least greater than one count, 1. Okay, for 1 there are 2, but at least this one has the greater number, so that's why count will increment. So for this 5, for let's talk about, for 5 there is no greater number, for again 5 there is no greater number, but for 3 there is greater number which is 5. Not we will say that 2 times 5, it the only one time, because these are the both are equal. Suppose if it is less, if it is greater than for 3, then obviously this 5 also will be greater than for 3. So the 3 is the only element which has the one number itself greater than, so output is 1. So explanation the same, the element that have at least one element greater than itself are 1 and 2 only. So how we will solve this? As I said that we will find the max number, and I told you we will not use the max function which is inbuilt for a list or any particular object, because in some cases if you are running the code, or if you are trying to write the code on any editor or any competitive programming, so in that case you might like feel bad that there you won't be able to write thus inbuilt or custom, means already predefined methods or functions. So in that case we have to be prepared for that. So let's try our own max function, then only we will solve the later part. So now the list is that 3 1 2, so this list can have a negative numbers as well. Okay, so what will be the max number for this then, because negative and positive both numbers are there, right? So what number you will initialize as your max number? Okay, 0 you can't put, right? Because if minus number is there, so you will not able to say that like there is no there is a max which is maximum number. 0 is max, we know that, but suppose if you have a more than that max number or mean number, in that case this will gonna take a wrong output, or this will gonna give you the wrong output. So for that what we use a float minus int. So this will be your max less number. So max less number, so max less number to max number means me, this will give you the complete mean number. So you will take your max number which is present in your list as a max n. Got it? So reverse opposite we use for finding the max, we use a negative infinity, sorry, it is infinity. And for finding the minimum, so we use maximum positive infinity. So infinity means any number that they will be there, so we will just compare with that number. Okay, so simply for I in what, a. Okay, so let's compare with that. If I is greater than your max n, what you will do, you will just reassign the new number which will be a max for that. Then later on what you will do, simply you have max number, right? So I just told you the logic, that we will be comparing the other numbers with this max number, right? So for I in, again what, a. So here what we will do, we will use a count variable which will be a 0 because we are going to return the element count, right? So if I is less than max number, then count gonna increment by 1 and we will return it the count. So simply let's talk about this dry run. Okay, means dry run means what, we will just take a input and we will just put the values and we will check the whether this count is getting correct or not by this code. So we have a list a has came and the infinity, it will be a minus infinity. Okay, always it will be a last less number. Let's come first iterate this. You have a, for a I in a, so your I first it will be a 3. Let's try it as a pseudo code I have written as I, one I is nothing but what, 3. Let's again keep for this, what I is 3 is greater than max means what, minus infinity, I told you. So always minus is less than what, positive number. So what you will do, max was your minus infinity, now max what it will become, 3. Second time again the control will go to what, beginning of the loop, 1 you got. So you will compare 1 is greater than max n, so now I is 1 and max n is I is what, now 1 and your max n is now 3. So is your 1 greater than 3? No, right? So what you will do, you will just means this condition is not getting satisfied, so again the control will go to what, beginning of the loop. Again you will find 3 as I. So let's compare again, is 2 greater than 3? It is not, right? So then all iterations are completed, it will go for again to the loop and it will check whether the number, any number is means iterations are over or not. It will check if iterations over, then it will go to for loop, stop iteration exception handling, and again control will come outside this for loop. Okay, so let's talk about the next. So max n is what now, it is 3. So second time, first your count is what, 0, so control will come here, so count will initialize as 0 because we want count which will be a incrementing by 1 only. So for I in a, again we are using a for loop and again we are iterating the same list. So first time I, what will be, it will be 3, right? So let's compare, I is 3, is 3 less than max n is what, your 3. Put the comment, question is the comment means the hash, it is equal, it is not greater or it is not less, it is equal, so it will not increment the number, right? So we don't want the equal, we want the greater itself. So first it will not satisfy. Second time 1 came. Let's check. For 1, the 3 is greater or not? Yeah, the 3 number is greater than that, so control will means this if will get satisfied and count will increment by what? 1. So it is 1 now. So second time means the third time your number 1 is done now, right? So 2 we have. So what you will write here? 2 now. So just keep as a condition. Is 2 less than 3 means 3 is greater than 2? Obviously it is. Again this condition will get satisfied and your control will go to your count increment statement, and your count will increment again what? 2. So it will go again at the beginning of loop. It will check is there any number which I need to iterate? No, right? So it will go fail means exception case, stop iteration, and it will come outside the for loop. And the last statement which will be execute what? Return count. So what count we got? 2. So the function will return integer 2, and it is also require integer 2. So this is the dry run. We can say that always we need to give a dry run for a particular interview. Not exactly they will give you a editor where you can just write and just run the code. So basic small company can ask you to write in code and execute it and just show the output. But majorly if you talk about the product based big companies, kind of like for an example, if I have now like experience of Amazon and Microsoft, so they generally ask for what? The pseudocode, and run this try to run it as a dry run code. Okay, dry code. Okay, so as I have shown you here only instead of paper pen. Okay, so now let's talk about the time complexity. At last, at means when we write code and we explain the code what we have written, then only we will talk about the what we have used. So there are two ways of solving the code. First is a best approach, and second is what? The worst approach. So in this case the best approach is n only. See, you don't know the max number. For that you will travel n. So how we will analyze the time complexity? So I'll just analyze it for you in this question. So later on we will not analyze in this detail, in this that much detail. We will discuss in detail but not that much detail. So for this, how much space it is taking? 1 unit. This is space, right? Because we are storing. So this is 1 unit means what? 1. Second, we have a loop. I always gonna change with what it will be. It will be a 4 bit only. Okay, so we know the integer takes 4 and string takes 8. So all time this I what it will take? 4 bit is nothing but what? 1 we can say. So again here it is 1. So same location they have following, just pointing this to this 4 bit whatever they have used. And max n is what? Again 1. Here it is just condition checking. We are not assigning or we are not doing anything. So here max n, we have not used the extra space or new variable for generating the max n value, right? We have just reassigned the value. Again see it, if it is taking the 4 bit. Okay, so again if you reassigning means it will obviously take the 4 bit. But if you are assigning the different database, that different data type, then it will gonna change the time complexity, space complexity. So this is what? 1. So this will travel till what? The n number. So the time complexity for this is what? At loop will take n plus 1. So this 1 will become n plus 1, and this inner part will work till what? Nothing but n. And if you write n plus 1, so what is the time complexity? 1 will be a all the time constant, because for loop always run n plus 1. For loop always runs 1 n plus 1. So the highest term, if you talk about this, and the neglecting the coefficient or constant order of 1, that is 1, and this is n. So time complexity is what? This is n, and this is also same space, only we are using 1. So here again n plus 1, nothing but n. Okay, now tc is what? N plus n. Highest term or common term is there, we can say 2n. Means suppose if you have a 10 number, okay, and you are traveling 2 times, not nested, so how you will count? You will say that 20 iteration will happen. So in this case 20 iterations are happening, but the big go is what? N only. Highest term is means what? N is highest. So I have shown in previous video the increasing order of the complexity. This is time complexity. Space is what? Space complexity is nothing but we are just using 1, and this is 1. Rest we are not using any space. So we can't say that 1 and 1. So this is 1 unit and this is 1 unit. So only how much we are storing? We are storing 8 bit of space. So 8-bit space, subspace is nothing but what? 1 only, right? Suppose if it is string 8-bit, it will take only 1 space, and if you have used a 2, that is also 1, but we are just reassigning it, so we will say that 1. So this is what? Big order of 1, and this is order of n. Okay, let's run with test. Yeah, all the test cases are passing. This is generally run with this takes only 3 to 5 test cases. If you submit it, it will try for number of test cases particular which defined for this question. So let's click on the submit. Yeah, it is going to start. Yeah, see, suppose if I would have been used the worst case like n square, so hard case never pass all the test cases, means this code will never pass the all the third hard test cases. So you like it would have give you the TLE, time limit exceed. So if you write the worst and worst case, so the best and best case we have written here, and the complete the algorithm we have used. We have not used any inbuilt anything, right? That's it. So again if I run this, so you will see how much time it is taking. Yeah, it is taking what? 0.5, means it is not taking even 1, only 5, means half. 0 point means 1 by 2, half time it is taking. And according to the question, it should take 10 raised to 5. So if 10 raised to 8 is there, and half, if you say that the 10 raised to 4 if you consider, so 10 raised to 5 is just nothing but nothing. So you can neglect that one, and just you can consider your time complexity is the best time complexity for this question. Okay. Okay, thanks. Next question is good pair, so we will talk about this in the next video. And please try to give a feedback in a comment section. Thanks. If any query, please reach out. Thank you.